It's time for me to go to the phone line and have a conversation with a young lady who has been doing so much all across the Caribbean, a trailblazer in the Caribbean. Her name is Tanya Lee Perkins, and she is a seasoned Caribbean sports marketing executive, athlete agent, and founder of LEEP Marketing. With over 14 years at SportsMax, and of course, SportsMax is a platform that has been bringing sports all across the Caribbean for over 23 years. So we say shout outs and enough love going out to the team there at SportsMax. She's also she rose to the vice president of marketing. She played a pivotal role in shaping the region's premier sports broadcast band. Tanya now represents top tier athletes, including national triple jump record holder Jaydon Hibbert, and was recently appointed ambassador to the Jamaica Football Federation. Her work spans football, track and field, motorsports, and with a deep focus on brand building, athlete advocacy, and community development across the Caribbean. Let's say good morning and welcome to Miss Tanya Lee Perkins.
Morning. Hi, Kilaboo.
Good morning. How are you doing? Nice to have you.
I'm pretty good. I haven't been to Irie Jam in a while. I remember when we came was when we were rolling out Scene TV across New York. So
Yes.
that was some 10 years ago. And
Wow.
I'm actually in your neck of the woods. Guess where I am today?
You're in New York?
I'm in New York. I'm in Midtown. It's not sunny here. It's very overcast, but I'm in Midtown.
Yes, it's been that. It's been sort of that way. You know, the weather is unpredictable these days. Even the weatherman sometimes can't tell what it's going to be.
That
you
is
know,
true.
so we do give thanks for the day, though, and it's a pleasure to have you on to share some information with the listeners of Irie Jam Radio all around the world. Now, before we get deep into the conversation, talk to me about SportsMax, because SportsMax has now closed its doors after 23 years, and I just want to get an inside view of your experience in helping to, bring sports coverage across the Caribbean.
SportsMax is very near and dear to my heart. I mean, I joined the company when it was just 2 years old. And I remember at the time we were only available on cable systems in Kingston. And when I tell you, the channel used to fry a lot. We used to lose that feed so often. So
Wow.
in those early days, you really wonder if you made a good decision to join this business. But as a huge sports fan, I was very excited about the advent of SportsMax, because what we had set out to do back then was to create a 24-hour sports channel, the first of its kind in Jamaica. And eventually we said, listen, we have this channel here. Let's go right across the Caribbean region. And so we ended up, after about 5, 6, 7 years, in 31 Caribbean countries throughout the Caribbean. So that's something we're pretty proud of. And we were the first to televise a lot of content that people were able to see. Jamaica Premier League, the schoolboy football. There was, football out of Trinidad. There was track and field out of Barbados. Just a lot of Carifta games. Just our Caribbean people were able to hear themselves, to see themselves, and sports grew. And of course, the flagship program, SportsMax Zone, which everybody went to have a voice to talk about their viewpoints on sports. So it's a massive loss for our region. And I really hope that somebody finds a way to rebuild what we had created.
Wow. Sounds like you were very, very instrumental, which you were in, shaping SportsMax, and now you lead LEEP Marketing. Talk to us about how your media and marketing background influence how Caribbean athletes build their global brand today.
Well, in terms of the athletes that I manage specifically, I think one of the important things is that fans typically want access to athletes, right? So that's important. So my role was really to help to elevate our local stars into household names. You're really looking at as an agency that manages athlete brands. And it's not just even athletes that are currently on the circuit. It's people who are retired and have extended their brand life. One of those people that I manage now is Asafa Powell. So the important thing there is to continue to make them a household name, to give fans access to them, to be able to amplify their stories. So ensure that people are able to see them, build brand building. That was something I learned through SportsMax, and I continued with the athletes. So you want to be able to build out their brands on social media, on digital platforms, on traditional media. You give updates as where they're competing, what are they doing with their future? What are they thinking of achieving during the season? Those things are important. And the single most important part that every athlete wants to hear, connecting them with sponsors, because you want to increase their earning potential through sponsorships. That's pretty much where I come in.
Wow. Now, you are also the agent who represents Jaydon Hibbert, who is Jamaica's national triple jump record holder. Can you speak to reports of Jaydon and 3 other athletes deciding to represent Turkey, and what factors may have contributed to this decision?
Well, just a clarification, my role for Jaydon is as manager. His agent is actually Henry Roll. Henry, shout outs to Henry. He's a Bahamian who speaks and breathes Jamaica. So in terms of a role as a manager and Jaydon and this decision, it's not one that he took lightly. Right. I think that we have to think about it as a decision that was made. How is this going to benefit him and his family? It's something that athletes often have to consider. I know earlier this year, Asafa spoke on it as well, and people were very upset. But it's what Jamaican people have done for decades. It's what Caribbean people do. You go to another land and you create more opportunities for you and your family. But at the end of the day, you're still Jamaican. You still have dual citizenship. So I think we're going to continue to cheer him on. And as a manager, I support his decision wholeheartedly. And it wasn't an easy one for him to make. But we're going to cheer for him just the same because he's Jamaican. We created him.
Yes. And as you said, it's not an easy decision to make. So, they're definitely going to need the support regardless of wherever, they go to represent as Jamaicans. So we're going to definitely give them the support. Help us to understand the emotional and professional pressures that the athletes face when they choose whether to represent another country or stay home.
I think it's the same pressure that every Jamaican faces when they make that decision for themselves. So even when Jamaicans think of migrating, you really want to just stay with the sunshine, your coconut, you're able to just go down the road and buy your fruits. It's such a hard decision, and you hope to go home as often as you can and feel and touch Jamaica and go to the beach, etc. So it's difficult. We are patriotic as a people. Our athletes are just as patriotic. You want to represent the black, green, and gold. And so it's not a light decision to make, but sometimes it's necessary because just like every other aspect of Jamaican life, our resources are limited. So what we are able to offer as a country to our athletes, sometimes it's minimal. And so if there are opportunities elsewhere and somebody sees it fit where this can benefit them and their families, it's just a family decision. It's a stability related decision. And I know it's not an easy decision for them to make. There's that feeling of displacement when you don't, you're somewhere else. Yeah. But as we know, the life cycle of an athlete is pretty short. And so that would be the driving force behind making that decision to ensure that they're securing their future and the future of their family, which typically you'll find that a family is also dependent on these athletes and the talent that they bring and the monies that will follow.
Now, would you say that in terms of athlete support, is there something that we can draw from other systems when it comes to supporting athletes? How do countries like Turkey compare to Jamaica?
Well, without looking at the full Turkish model, I can say that one of the things that we need to do as a country is to find ways in which we have to listen to our athletes. So for years, our athletes have stated there are numerous ways in which they would want more support, whether it is through when they participate at national championships, whether they are participating at world events such as Olympics or world championships, specifically looking at track and field here. I think we have to look at more ways in which we can provide that sort of support. I think that even this move recently, and based on what I'm hearing, it's a number of athletes that have made the switch. You will find that now reopens conversations about what more can we do? What do our athletes need in terms of investment in their careers and how we can close that gap? And I think that is a question for all Jamaicans, for corporate Jamaica to think about. How do we support at the grassroots level as a sponsor? How do we support them on this journey without waiting until they actually win? Because a lot of our athletes need support along the way. They need for training, nutrition, coaching, So I think as a country, we have to look at increasing the ways in which we support our talent base.
True indeed. You said that you are here in New York. I hope you enjoy the trip as much as a lot of people enjoys it when they come here. The World Cup is getting ready to also come here to the United States.
Yes.
I said that to say that congrats on your recent appointment as ambassador to the Jamaica Football Federation. What inspired you to take this on, and how do you plan to use your marketing expertise to elevate the Reggae Boys brand?
All right. So why did I take this on? A couple of reasons. I must tell you, I believe in the boys, right? I manage the captain and the vice captain of the team. That's Andre Blake and Damian Lowe. And I was approached late last year by the coach, Steve McLaren, and he said to me, listen, I know that you work with these two. Why not the full group? So really, it was an idea that came from the coach who said, we would like to be able to raise sponsorships to fund a lot of what needs to happen around the boys and the qualification campaign. And that was the start of me considering doing this role. And so that was really the main reason. It was to help the team to be able to secure sponsorships so that the qualification road will happen. Same thing we just spoke about. The support is important. So we know coming up in September, October, November, there's a campaign that's being rolled out now. And we also know that it is a significant financial output that will be required. You're talking about charter flights, you're talking about accommodation, meals. Just the preparation alone is a significant sum. And so those sponsorship support will be necessary. We've had many that have come on board so far, and I have to say thanks to them. There are some more announcements to come, but we're looking for even more support because we know that the journey starts from now. And I know how Jamaicans are in a killer boo. I have to say this. We have us when the team qualifies, everybody's gonna want to jump on board. But we need the support before, because we actually have to fund the program. So that's really my role. And I know it's an important one because it takes cash to care. So I'm canvassing, and let's see how well that goes.
True indeed, and I hope people come out and support from now. Sounds like, it reminds me of that story. Remember that story with the hen who was trying to bake the bread or the cake and asking all the animals on the farm to help, and everybody was laughing, and when she finished bake, everybody want to eat. So
That's it.
That is how it always go. So we hope people get on board from early. Speaking of getting on board from early, you have been active in grassroots outreach, like Andre Blake's goalkeeper clinics and Damian Lou's community work. How critical is it to connect athlete branding with real community development?
Oh, I think it's so important. One of the things I don't like to do, Killer Boo, is to just start working with an athlete and then we create this PR plan and it doesn't feel connected to them. I don't like to feel like anything is forced. So one of my main questions when I'm managing an athlete is to say to them, what is important to you? Let me know what you're passionate about. So in the case of Damien, he's passionate about the Rockford community. He grew up there. His grandfather grew up there, who taught him football. His father grew up there, Anandelo, Reggae Boys legend, who also taught him football. So Rockford is important to him, and our way of giving back to his community is to do an annual Christmas treat every year. There's also a home for kids with disabilities and mental challenges, and I know that he was able to contribute to them even last year with some printers and scanners and things like that. So he's passionate about Rockford. Andre Blake. Andre is a goalkeeper. Andre says to me, Tanya, in terms of international goalkeeping and what I have learned, even being in Philadelphia and working with the team, I just want to give back to goalkeepers in Jamaica and to give them that experience. And that was where the goalkeeper clinic was born. It was really his idea that he wanted to execute for years. And I said, let's approach your sponsors. Let's get this done. And that's what we did. So with the help of his sponsors, Andre Blake Foundation was able to roll it out. And it's something that we're going to continue. So those ideas really come from each of those athletes. When I worked with Brianna Williams, for example, she really wanted to give back in Montego Bay. She had a treat in Mobay, and she gave back scholarships to student athletes. There were a group of girls that ran a 4x1, and they said, we look up to Brianna Williams. And Brianna said, no, man, I want to give these girls scholarships. So we did. We went to Excelsior High and we gave them scholarships to just make that load a little easier for the parents because these are talented young ladies. So I prefer that the charity endeavor comes from the athlete, but I think it is important that each athlete give back because you know how it is. You must reach back and grab a hand.
True indeed. You know, Tanya, I just want to commend you on all that you have done for the Caribbean, all your contributions when it comes to bringing sports all across the Caribbean and, you know, unifying people, especially through the SportsMax platform. Thank you so much for your contributions, everything that you have done. And we see where SportsMax is getting ready to close their doors in August. I believe it said August,
Yes, August
August 8th.
8th.
Um, how can the Caribbean reclaim that space in sports media going forward?
I think we just have to put our minds around it. I know that there are players who have stakeholders who have significantly benefited from a sports max. So there is the ISA schoolboy football. There is the Jamaica Premier League. We have a group of very business-minded people run those endeavors. And so the important thing now is to find a way of I would say finding a way of creating a business model around the current demand. Where is the demand? Access to the matches. Where can this be placed? On streaming platforms, on a YouTube, for example, streaming platforms, the first screen now is the phone. When SportsMax started, the first screen was a TV. Now it's the mobile instrument. So there are other ways in which we can continue to bring audiences in. And I think it just requires a think tank, a number of business persons to just get together. I know that, for example, the equipment is on sale. And so get equipment in. There is a load of people that have just been let go, obviously, from SportsMax, would have a wealth of knowledge about how to do production. So get those persons hired up. And I think you keep the ball rolling and find ways of, from a business perspective, capitalizing on that, because we need it.
Yes.
The players need the content. Obviously, you'll have a wide scope, but you need the content to be able to have an agent, be able to shop the players and have a look at our players for a club to say, wow, I want to be able to buy this player. We've had players that have left Jamaica, not just through the national program, but through the Premier League system. So it would be important to maintain that. And for schoolboy football, which is just the huge fan base, you know how big the fan base is for Manning Cup and the Costa Cup in Jamaica, have to continue to have that televised. So if that's not picked up by a TVJ, a CVM, then I would say take the blueprint and run with it.
As you said, keep the ball rolling. And that's what it's all about. Keep the ball rolling. Finally, what advice would you give to emerging sports marketers and athlete agents, especially young women who want to make a lasting impact in the world of Caribbean sports?
Boy, I would say for women, I'll tell you, it's a little tough, right? We'll always have to work hard. But some of the things I would say for young people coming into sports space, specifically young women, find your why. It's so important to know, why do I want to do this? Why am I interested in sports? Why do I want to work in this field? Find your why, because that will guide you. One of the things I would say is remain coachable. As you continue to grow, when you're young, you're still in the phase of learning. So I think you have to remain coachable. And also I would say, don't compare yourself with others in the industry. So somebody who is on day 2 wouldn't compare to somebody who's on day 500, but you will build as you go along. And so you continue to develop and chart your own path. I know we're in the copy and paste era of life now, but chart your own path. I think when you look back, you'll be proud that you were able to create something that you can say I made an impact. But the why is the most important thing, to find your why. And of course, I'd say this to any professional, whether young, old, no matter where you are in it, maintain your integrity, because that's what's going to carry you through and continue to open doors for you, that people work with who they know and trust. So that integrity is important. So that would be my advice. And just continue to just work hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Tanya Lee Perkins, a Caribbean sports marketing executive, athlete, agent, and founder of LEEP Marketing. She has had over 14 years of experience at SportsMax, which was a trailblazing platform for sports across the Caribbean, and they're getting ready to close their doors on August the 8th. Just want to say thank you once again on behalf of the whole entire Irie Jam Nation. Continue to do what you are doing, and all the best in your future endeavors. Congratulations once again on your new position at the JFF.
Thank you so much for having me, and just shout out to Errol, also an agent who I know is obviously part of the Irie Jam team, but glad that I could do this interview. I don't often agree to do interviews, can I tell you? But
I'm glad you did.
Errol asked and I had to.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tanya. You enjoy the rest of your afternoon and best of luck in the future.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.